Remember when you were 11 years old and you would travel across the desert to capture giant, incredibly dangerous dungeons and get involved in political and economic strife in order to choose the next king of the land? What? You guys haven't done that? My buddy Aladdin does that all the time. Wrong Aladdin. Yeah, there you go. Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic by Shinobu Ohtaka is a manga that was published in Weekly Shonen Sunday, the fourth best-selling manga magazine and one of Shonen Jump's biggest competitors. Yeah, this one's not Jump for once. It started in June 2009, on my birthday actually, which is pretty awesome, running all the way until October 2017. We got an impressive 369 chapters collected in 37 tankobon volumes, and even a spin-off that ran for 19 volumes ending in 2018. An anime adaptation by A1 Pictures started in 2012, spanning 2 seasons ending in 2014. A lot of the conversation I hear about Magi is about the anime, so it seems to be a very good adaptation. Magi has an almost legendary status as far as shonen series go, and I often see people hail it as one of the best alongside Hunter x Hunter, JoJo, and One Piece, among others, of course. Unfortunately, it took me quite a while to get into this one. I tried starting the anime on 2 separate occasions years ago, but I never got past the first few episodes. I didn't dislike it by any means, but it just didn't grab me like other things at the time. This time, I dove straight into the manga, which is my preferred medium over anime, and this time I can gladly say it's hooked me. I'm only about 60 chapters deep, but this manga has everything I look for and more in a great shonen battle series. It's got really likable, developed, and human characters. Aladdin is a kid that's probably a little bit too young to be walking around the desert on his own, but he's alright because he's got a magic flute, and if you mess with him, you're gonna catch the hands of his giant fucking hulking genie named Ugo, who can't show his head for some reason. Aladdin doesn't really know what his goal is because he has amnesia, but he's very good at reading people's emotions and intentions. He does, however, know that he met his best friend Ugo in a dungeon, which are these massive spires that one day suddenly emerge from the ground, granting great power and treasures to anyone who tries to reach the end. Good luck though, they're absolutely riddled with traps and other dangers like grotesque monsters and other horrors. Perfect place for an 11-year-old to be, don't you think? Where are his parents? Aladdin quickly meets the Wonder Man Alibaba, who works for this dude selling wine. He decides that he's done with the boring life he settled for, and he and Aladdin are going to capture a dungeon to become rich and famous. But first, wreck this dude's wine selling business in the process of saving a little girl that he left to die. While in the dungeon, they make a total fool out of a notorious slave trader and end up freeing a slave girl named Morgiana, who's from a race of inhumanly physically strong people called finalists. This makes her desirable to slave traders who can sell her for a high price. She doesn't talk much at first, but eventually warms up to the gang and joins them. This group has actually disbanded more than once already where I've gotten, and you still get to see what they're up to even when they're not all together, allowing the story to progress in some very interesting ways, as they can't always rely on each other to get through tough encounters. In my opinion, most of the really good shonen battle manga share one thing, and this is of course the world building. Naruto, Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Fullmetal Alchemist, and of course, the king of world building, One Piece, are all fantastic examples of world building in manga. Outside of manga, I would say franchises like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Game of Thrones also nail this. These epics spend a lot of time introducing you and detailing a world sprawling with tons of characters, as well as the world the characters reside in. Things like geography, political and economic structure, societal norms, and how the characters can utilize and improve on what powers are present in their universe. Magi absolutely excels at all of this, though it's not quite One Piece level, especially after the Reverie and Wano arcs. That shit's just too good. It could very well get to that point though. As I said, I'm only a short way through Magi, so I'd love to see it improve even further in that. Magi is quite political compared to your typical shonen series, but don't let that steer you away from it. There's a lot of talk about economy and relations with other kingdoms, but it's all presented in a digestible way and it's not boring at all. There's a big focus on corrupt monarchies with terrible injustices such as slavery, poverty, and many prejudices entrenched in the governments that rule the areas Aladdin and his gang traverse to. The showdowns that happen in Magi are always built up over a number of chapters, resulting in epic and satisfying battles. Anytime Aladdin uses Ugo, I can't help but cheer, and it's always so hyped to see it. This genie seriously just throws down on people, and it never gets old to see it. The main power in Magi is called Magi? I don't know. A magical power that comes from the souls that reside all around you. Using too much Magi is a really bad idea though, and it can leave you incapacitated or even just kill you. It exists in everyone, though only certain people with specific artifacts can wield it. Ones with an especially high affinity for Magi are called Magi, and they have the responsibility to choose one fit to be king. Magi are also said to be the ones who have the power to shape the world around them. Aladdin is one of the aforementioned Magi, but as I mentioned previously, he has a terrible case of amnesia and doesn't really understand how to utilize his true potential. And most of the time, he uses his magic flute to just call upon Ugo to go full unga bunga and smash everything. We're quickly introduced to another Magi named Sinbad, the King of Sindria.
So I missed.
And he's just a total bro. He teaches both Aladdin and Alibaba more about Magi and how to use it. And he's got another finalist in his crew of 3, which is a bit overkill because he seems pretty untouchable on his own. And finally, the seemingly evil Magi, Judal. He wants nothing but war and he loves to fight. He's got some kind of history with Sinbad and he looks suspiciously similar to Aladdin. Unfortunately, he was just introduced to me, so I don't really have too much to say about him. Onto the art, it's not the most consistently detailed, but it has a very charming art style and there's some really unique character designs in here. Ohtaka succeeds at creating a wide array of facial expressions and just diverse faces and body types in general. The panels usually aren't too cramped with text, and action scenes sprawl out across the page, leaving a fast-paced reading experience. Magi is depicted through intense flashes of light that illuminate the page, which gives me a vibe similar to Kubo's work in Bleach. And the exposition shots of whatever country the gang goes to are always beautiful to look at, having incredibly detailed architecture in a mostly desert landscape. This is definitely a series I'll have to revisit as I continue to read it and make videos in the future, so expect to see more at some point. But that's about it for this video. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and if you have any feedback or suggestions for future videos, I'd really appreciate if you left a comment below. Please check out my previous video on Saint Seiya if you like this one, and I'm out.